All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to crack the code on something you've definitely seen, but maybe never totally understood: the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. The CEFR. So, what is this thing, really? I mean, you've seen these codes, right? A1, B2, C1. They pop up everywhere when you're learning a language. But what do they actually mean? What kind of real world skill are we talking about here? You could be scrolling through job postings and bam, there it is. Spanish B2 required. Okay, so what level of Spanish do they actually need? How good is B2? Or maybe you're looking at schools and they're asking for proof of C1 English. Is that just about scoring high on a test, or is there more to it? And of course, there's our favorite language apps. You get that little explosion of confetti telling you, hey, you've hit level A2, and that feels awesome. But what can you actually do now that you couldn't do at A1? That's really the big question, isn't it? So to really get why these codes are such a big deal, we have to imagine what the world was like without them. And believe me, for a long time, it was kind of a mess. Before the CEFR came along, it was pretty chaotic. I mean, every country had its own way of grading language skills. So a certificate from France was apples, and one from Germany was oranges. There was just no common ground, which made it incredibly difficult for people who wanted to study or work in another country. How could you possibly prove how well you spoke the language? And this quote right here from the Council of Europe really gets to the heart of it. They knew that for people to move around more freely, communicate better, and, actually understand each other, everyone needed to be on the same page. This wasn't just some academic exercise. It was about connecting people. So, out of that need for clarity, the Common European Framework of Reference was created. It was designed to be this beautiful, simple solution to a really complicated problem. So, what is it? Well, first, let's be clear about what it's not. The CEFR is not a test. It's not one specific certificate. Think of it more like a giant, detailed guide. It describes what learners can do at different stages of their journey. It's the common foundation that lets teachers, textbook writers, and exam creators all speak the same language about language. And the whole thing is built on three really important ideas. First, transparency. That just means making it super clear what a qualification actually means no matter where you are. Second is coherence, which is about making sure that what you learn, how you learn it, and how you're tested all make sense together. And the third pillar, this is the real game changer, is that it's action-oriented. The CFR doesn't really care how many grammar rules you've memorized. It cares about what you can do. Can you actually order that coffee? Can you argue your point? It's all about real-world tasks. Okay, let's get to the good stuff, the part you've been waiting for. What do those letters and numbers actually stand for? Let's climb the language ladder from A1 all the way up to C2. So the whole framework is broken down into three big levels. You've got A for the basic user, B for the independent user, and C for the proficient user. And each of those is split into two sublevels. So let's see what that actually looks like in practice. The A levels are all about being a basic user. At A1, which they call breakthrough, you're just getting started. You can say hello, introduce yourself, and handle really simple, familiar stuff. By the time you get to A2, or way stage, you can handle routine conversations about things that matter to you, like your family, your hobbies, or your work. You're going from just surviving to actually communicating. And here's a perfect example of what I mean by action-oriented. At A2, it's all about what you can do. You can get the gist of a train announcement as long as it's slow and clear. You can go into a shop or a post office and handle a simple transaction. You can even write a basic postcard connecting your thoughts with words like and or but. These are real, tangible skills. Now, hitting the B2 levels is a huge deal. You're now officially an independent user. At B1, the threshold level, you can pretty much handle any situation that might come up while you're traveling. But B2, Vantage, that's where things get really exciting. You can now understand complex ideas, even abstract ones, and you can have a conversation with a native speaker without it being a struggle for either of you. This is usually the level you need for a job or university. And just look at the leap in what you can do at B2. You're not just getting by anymore, you're really using the language. You can argue your point in a debate, you can watch the news or a movie and follow along, you can write a whole essay that makes a coherent argument. This is where you really start to feel fluent and confident. And finally, we get to the C levels, the proficient user. At C1, you're fluent, you're spontaneous. You can pick up on subtle jokes and hidden meanings. The language is a flexible tool for you. And C2? Well, C2 is mastery. That's the summit. You can understand pretty much anything and everything, and you can express yourself with the kind of precision and nuance that's, frankly, astounding. But the CEFR is way more than just these 6 levels. It's actually built on a really deep and thoughtful philosophy about what it means to use a language. The framework talks about 2 key ideas: multilingualism and plurilingualism. Now, multilingualism is what we usually think of. It's knowing several languages, like having different tools in a toolbox. But plurilingualism is a cooler idea. It sees all of your languages, your native one, the ones you're learning, as part of one big interconnected web. You draw from all of it to communicate. It's a much more complete picture of who you are as a language user. And that holistic idea is right here. The CEFR says there are 4 things that make up your competence. It's not just your knowledge, the stuff you know, and your skills, the stuff you can do. It's also your existential competence, which is really about who you are, your personality, your attitudes. And so important, it includes your ability to learn. The framework sees your whole self as part of the communication process. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway? How should you, as a language learner, think about the CEFR? This is the most important part. Please don't think of the CEFR as a test you have to pass or a box you have to fit into. It's not. It's a map. It's a tool that lets you see exactly where you are right now. It shows you the path ahead, what skills you need to work on to get to the next destination. It puts you in the driver's seat of your own journey to fluency. It empowers you to stop asking, what level am I? And to start asking, what can I do? And even more excitingly, what do I want to be able to do next? Your journey is your own. So where do you want to go? Thanks for watching.